I remember the desperation to get out of my hometown. I was in a relationship and this guy did not care about moving away from home. Not as quick as I did anyway. I wanted to get out. I wanted to move away from my hometown. I wanted to get out of my parents' home and have some space to make some shit happen and challenge myself and actually be a bit uncomfortable. If you are feeling the same, if you are feeling like it's time for a new challenge, it's time to move away and it's time to explore a bit of the world, then hopefully this video gives you a bit of insight. I moved away from home at age 21. I moved to Sweden. Now, Sweden might sound a bit random. That's because my mum is Swedish, my dad is English, so I am half Swedish. Here are some things that I wish I knew before I moved. Taxes. Sorry to start the video boring, but as you grow up, you actually learn how to pay and why to pay and how much taxes you actually have to pay. Now, in this video, I'm probably going to generalize a lot because I am basing this off my personal experience living in Sweden and moving away from home. Now, Sweden is the only country that I really lived in other than the UK and other than 1 month in Bali. So that's my experience. But I run a company and I pay taxes, and something that I really learned from Sweden is how much tax that you actually pay. So I actually spent 1.5 years of my time in Sweden working in a cafe, which meant that all of the money that I saw in my bank account was mine. And I didn't have to worry about taxes. Obviously, when you get an invoice from a company, you see that you are paying a ridiculous % of tax and it hurts, you know? You get a bit like, ouch, I wish that was my money, but I'm not seeing it anyway, so it doesn't really affect me. Whereas when you register as a company, an RB, it's called in Sweden, you have to understand how much of your client or your customer's money is yours versus how much is actually given away to tax and to the government. Now, I know that when I recorded a video 2 years ago or 1 year ago, I can't remember, of living in Sweden, I talked about taxes and a lot of people were saying, yes, but you have to be grateful you live in Sweden, and I'm super grateful. The cost, not the cost, the way of life, the quality of life in Sweden is unmatched. Like, it's incredible, and I will talk about that further in the video, but tax hurts and I'm not gonna hide that, especially when you are running a company based in Sweden. This is something that I wish I knew before I moved out, and the reason why I wish I knew this is because I think I would rethink where to set up a company, and I'm not sure that I would actually register a company in Sweden after knowing this. Friends, possibly one of my favourite topics ever to discuss. Now, there are so many myths about making friends in Sweden, how easy it is and how social people are, and making friends as you become an adult in general. It can be challenging and it can be tough and it can be quite awkward. I always say that you really want friends who are going to make you feel good where you currently are, who are going to push you to be better, and who are really going to value your time. Understanding your love language even is really important in friendships. And if you are currently in a friendship group that doesn't serve you, that doesn't push you to be better, but also love you for the way that you are, then you need new friends. I grew up with friends who weren't my people, who weren't the people who lit me up and enjoyed the things that I enjoyed endless brunch, enjoyed cozy evenings, enjoyed going to the gym, enjoyed eating well, and just supported me when I wanted to better myself. I never had those friends until I moved away from home. I put myself in uncomfortable situations. I joined clubs, I started hobbies. Once I did this, I gained the most beautiful friendships I have ever had in my entire life, and I am so grateful for the friends that I have. And I can't stand the myths about Sweden and making friends. Yes, I understand that the culture, which I will talk about, is very different from other cultures. People are less social. That is very true, especially in the wintertime. People are less social, people are more reserved, and it's hard to make friends with true Swedish people, apparently, and I think that is true because I have no friends who are actually fully Swedish. I have friends who are half Swedish and lots of friends who are international who have just moved to Sweden. So I won't sit here and say that it's easy to make friends with Swedish people, but it's not hard to make friends. As soon as you tell yourself, it's easy for you to make friends because you are a likable, lovable person. It will become so much easier for you to create that friendship circle and those amazing friends that you really, really want and you really deserve in your life. I wish I knew that making friends didn't have to be hard. Making friends was in fact easy, and making friends that actually value and love the things that you do was not impossible. The winters. What would this video be if I didn't talk about Sweden and Swedish winter? Swedish winter is dark and cold and also very, very beautiful, but I wish I knew how long the darkness lasts. Only because it wouldn't change me moving away to Sweden, but it would change the way that I handle these winters and what I do in these winters and how I plan, you know, for success during the winter time, because it's cold, it's dark, and not many people do many things, including yourself. It's very, very easy and it's very, very tempting to stay at home in the warmth. A few pieces of advice for you is get outside during daylight hours. Get outside during daylight hours, make sure you are still moving your body, make sure you are sticking to your routines and not slipping into that, you know, winter feeling where you don't want to move and you don't want to do anything because it's way too easy to do that. Make your home cozy and plan to be social with friends, because it's very, very hard to be spontaneous in the winter. Like, it's hard. Even if you're an extroverted person, I have friends who have gone through the same thing, it's still hard to plan. Also, nutrition, set yourself up for success, meal plan, meal prep, warm meals. This has helped me a lot to cope with Swedish winter. Now, I just wish I knew these things last year, and I wish I even knew these things going into this winter. But now I've really, really learned how to handle the winter and how to stay healthy and how to stay nourished and how to cope. I also went to Bali during the start of winter this year, which was a great decision, so I recommend if you can get out, then do that, because we all need that vitamin D. Dating culture and the culture in general. Now, in any country, the dating culture is so different and it's so varied, and there's so many different people and different cultures, religions, etc. Some key things that I have learned about dating in Sweden is that it's basically all online, because a lot of people are quite antisocial and quite afraid of approaching people in the streets, which I understand. You know, equality is a big thing in Sweden, which, I don't know, we could argue is a great thing, but we could also argue is a bit of an annoying thing, because it means that men are less likely to approach women. In my opinion, this is what I have seen. This is what I have seen from friends as well. So dating is predominantly online. I've also seen that first moves are not a thing. It's kind of hard to make a first move, it's hard to initiate, and I think it's hard to find a man who also initiates and has the confidence to initiate. Now, obviously they are out there, but these are things that I have learned from dating in Sweden, Stockholm. But then I've also had some really positive experiences, some fun dates where you go and do sports and do something different and have a really nice time. But Swedish people, this is definitely generalizing, and I've heard this a lot, avoid confrontation. So if there is any kind of confrontation, or if somebody has to tell you that they don't like you, they don't want to see you again, they most likely won't do that and you will get ghosted. That is just the reality of these people and dating in this country. The culture in general, wherever you live, will affect how you show up for yourself and how you treat yourself and the standards that you set for yourself. Something that I really, really love actually about Stockholm specifically is the standards. You can see this as a negative or a positive, but when you move to a country where everybody is taking care of themselves, everybody's eating well, moving a lot, and eating nutritious food, you automatically slip into the same patterns. You want to do the same because you want to fit in. The standards in Sweden have raised the bar for me and my health and my both physical and mental health in general, and my standards for myself. And I really appreciate this about the culture, but it also means that there is a bit of an ego in Stockholm where people look down on others, and I've seen this a lot, and I don't really like that, because, you know, no one is above anyone. Even if you exercise 5 times a week versus once a week, it doesn't mean that you're above or below, right? So there can be that kind of ego problem that I've seen, which I don't agree with, but living in a city where people are taking care of themselves helps you to raise your standards. And I wish I knew this, because I don't know, then I think I would be more prepared and less comparison, and just understand that everybody's on their own journey and not compare myself to women who are freaking strong in the gym, because there's so many of them in Sweden. Like, I was shook. This never happened in my hometown. 2 more things I wish I knew about the culture is makeup. Women do not wear a lot of makeup mostly, which I absolutely love. I grew up in Manchester, or just outside of Manchester, and maybe you've seen some stereotypes, but women wear a lot of makeup. So it's taught me to embrace kind of my complexion and my skin and wear less, which I love. The social aspect, a lot of socializing is revolved around eating and drinking, as I'm sure it's the same with many cultures. For me, I'm trying to do more sports, go for more walks, and less eating and drinking as an excuse to socialize, and more activities. Last thing I realized I have been talking for a long time now is adulting and responsibility. Taking responsibility for where you're at in life, taking responsibility for your finances, your health, where you live, who you're spending time with, how you are spending your time, taking responsibility for literally everything you are doing. You're washing up, for example. This just comes with moving away from home, and it's the best and the worst thing. I just wish I knew how to handle myself a little bit better, but then again, I don't think you will learn that through staying at home. The only way that you will learn that is through moving away, getting out there, putting yourself out there, and actually being in it and struggling to handle yourself and take care of yourself. The only way that you will learn is by actually doing it. I'm going to end the video here. I hope that you loved it and took something away from it. Please move away from your hometown. I promise you, you will grow and you will evolve so much. Now, I'm not saying it's the answer to all of your problems. If you have problems, address those first, because your problems follow you wherever you go. And as I've said in another video, I don't believe that your life is in another country, but your life is where you are right now, and you are your life. So it's not like my life is in Sweden, my dream life is in Australia. You create your dream life. So wherever you are, you can create that, but moving away from home just gives you that extra bit of responsibility and challenge and uncomfort, and we all need a little bit of that. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I share lots of personal and self-development tips. There is lots coming based around making friends in your 20s, becoming your future self, and so much more. I hope you loved it. Have a beautiful day, week, month, life. Bye.